Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the What Show. Today we have some guests talking about whether eyewitness identification should or shouldn't be the only factor determining whether someone's guilty or not. We have some guests on the show today involved in the rape case of Jennifer Thompson. And actually, I had the chance to meet up with her last week. Now here's her story.
So that night, I went out to eat with my boyfriend. I can't recall exactly where we went. But all I know is that night I got sick, so he took me home. We got home and I ended up falling asleep, so and then I just fell asleep. So at about 3 in the morning, I woke up because of a loud noise and I thought it was him. So I just said, "Who's there?" And then all of a sudden the man jumped on top of me, onto my back, and pinned my arms and my legs down to the sides. I screamed, and then he told me. Hold on a second, I'm sorry. Then he told me if I didn't shut up, he would kill me. Thank you. So I thought he was just somebody who broke into my house to rob me. So I told him where my wallet was, and I told him he could take all my money, all of it, I don't care. And then I asked him what did he want, and that's when he took my panties off and he raped me. I knew he was bigger than me, and I could tell that he was drinking because I smelled it. And I assumed he was a criminal, so I was just scared. So I just started to memorize his face, so that soon, quite possibly, I could make him get incarcerated.
Hey, Jennifer.
I'm alright, and you?
I'm good. So we all know the story of your horrific experience, but what exactly happened afterward?
Well, I made for a run for it, and I ran out through the back door.
Naked?
Yes, to my neighbor's home, and he, the rapist, chased after me. The first house I went to didn't answer, but at the second house, they recognized me and answered. And when I came in, I just fainted on the floor. And then from there, I just kept losing in and out of consciousness. But when I finally woke up, I remember being inside of an ambulance. At the hospital, the doctor did the rape kit, and Mike, the officer, came to question me.
What type of questions did he ask you?
He asked me if I had gotten a good look at the rapist and if I could recognize him if I saw him again.
After that, what happened?
I was taken to the police station with my boyfriend, Paul, and I asked to make a statement. I hate telling the story over and over, but I had to make sure that they had all the information they needed to catch the assailant. Then Detective Goldman brought in the identity kit, and I had to look over several pages, eyes, ears, noses, and chins, until I was able to recognize the one. When that was all completed, the officers had asked me if I had taken my penicillin shot in the morning after pill, and I replied no, so they took me back to the hospital to take the pill. A couple of days later, I was asked to return to the police station to look at 6 pictures of possible suspects. It took me a while, but in the end, I was positive about my choice. I then asked them if I had done well, and the officers replied yes. That just made me more sure about my choice. When I saw Ronald Cotton in the physical lineup, I knew, positive, that no questions asked that that was my rapist.
Do you feel like the officers may have had influenced your choice for the lineup?
I felt as though it was possible that they may have influenced me because when I had identified him in the photo lineup, they said I did such a great job. So I may have subconsciously chose Ronald Cotton because I knew that if I picked him, they would still tell me I did a great job.
Okay, well, thanks for being on my show, Jennifer. You take care now.
Right. All right.
I call you Mike? Yeah? Okay, awesome.
I'm doing fine. How are you?
I'm swell. Now, I brought you out here to get your story and perspective of the events that happened dealing with the case of Jennifer Thompson's rape.
That sounds fine.
Now, what are your thoughts on the investigation and how it was carried out?
Back then, us as police officers, we had to follow standard procedure, but we thought there were some faults with those procedures.
Like what?
Well, for instance, we needed to keep our expressions completely neutral the entire time. Also, with the lineup, Ronald Cotton was the only black male whose face actually appeared in the photo array. Yes, ma'am.
Oh, well, speaking of Ronald Cotton, he's here with us today as our special guest. So, let's bring out Ronald Cotton. Hey, Ronald. Can I call you Ron? Yeah? Okay, how are you?
Good.
Good. So, can you tell me from your perspective about what your story is exactly?
Sure. One day I was coming home and my mom's boyfriend told me that the police came over and did a search warrant on our house and took some of my things. Then I drove to the police station with my sister and girlfriend. There, I met Detective Galdi, and he took me to be interrogated.
What? What questions did the officers ask you?
He asked me questions about the weekend of the rape.
So what'd you say?
I was 21 at the time, and I couldn't distinguish my nights from one another, especially during the summer. I told him that night I was out with my brother Calvin at the boarding house. And then I told the detective how we were drinking beer and listening to music, and after I walked to a friend's down this road, to a friend's place down the road, where we drank some more, whatnot. After that, I told him I went to the club and then back to the boarding house and back to my house. But when I finished telling him my story, he kept making me repeat it and asking for more and more detail.
Then what happened?
Oh, now? Damn, I started talking. I was allowed to make 2 calls. First, I called my father and he told me that he was going to try and get me out. Then I called my mom and she ended up coming down to see me. I told her that I didn't do what they were accusing me of and that I couldn't have done it since I was with Calvin and we went to the club. She stopped me and told me that I was wrong and that in reality, I was at home sleeping on the couch that weekend.
How did you feel at that moment? So how did you feel at that moment?
I was confused at first, and then I got scared because I told the cops the wrong story. They were going to accuse me of lying.
Okay, so then you went to jail and what happened there?
I heard this guy, Bobby Poole, telling another guy about how he committed this crime that I was being convicted for. I sent a letter to my lawyer telling him about it, but nothing could be done at the time. Years later, I heard about DNA evidence, and I sent another letter to my lawyer asking him to investigate it.
And then?
I told them who I thought was the real rapist, which I thought was Bobby Poole. The police looked into another string of crimes that Bobby was involved in. They matched identification with other strings of similar rapes, and the evidence was conclusive that led up to Bobby Poole.
Well, thank you for coming and sharing your end of the case. Well, it seems like we're at the end of our show, so thanks for tuning in and watching the Jennifer Thompson rape case. Have a nice day. What? What?
What show?